Hey y'all, what's up? JamiThatsMe here. Welcome back to the channel, honey, and welcome back to another quick chat. And on this quick chat, we got to talk about the interview that Kenya Moore just did. And when I say that it was a pretty good interview, I enjoyed it. First thing I want to highlight is that Kenya Moore looked absolutely beautiful. Okay, just like Nene looked absolutely beautiful during her last interview that she did. I have to say Kenya Moore was beautiful. I love the color of the dress that she had on. She looked so freaking pretty to me. The backdrop, the plum backdrop, really complimented her dress, and it also complimented her skin complexion, her tone. I was like, oh yes, y'all did good. Okay, y'all did okay. Miss Kenya, come on, girl. Hair was giving laid. She looked very beautiful. Okay, so we got to talk about the interview and the things that she discussed. All right, there were some things that stood out to me that I decided to jot down, and I wanted to come to y'all, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so while I get that up, make sure that you guys are coming into the video and you are indeed liking the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that together so we can talk about it. All right. Kenya, she kind of opens up talking about her mom. Carlos wanted to know more about her life. I feel like he says that they're real friends. Kenya admits that they are real friends. So I feel like he knows a lot of these details. But for us, okay, he wanted her to kind of go back into her life before she, got into reality TV. We all know it's not a surprise that Kenya Moore has had issues with her mom, okay, with her mother not necessarily acknowledging her, and that's been the case since she was born. I believe her grandmother took full responsibility of her, like when she was 3 days old. Kind of understood when you have a child at the age of 16, because her parents were 16 when they had her. So that's kind of understood. Some parents, I believe, when you're like 16 or so, they may force you to be a parent to their child versus them, doing everything for you. Hell, some parents just gonna kick your ass out the house, okay? Because that's also has happened to some people. But in this particular situation, her grandmother decided to take care of her when she was like 3 days old. Now there was a time in her life around 11 or 12 where she said that she wrote she didn't write it, she left an audio message. She recorded her thoughts, like a diary, audio diary version, where she recorded her thoughts on things she wanted to share with her mom, letting her know, like, hey, you don't have to disrespect me, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, you don't even have to call me your daughter, but can you at least acknowledge me, just like a teeny weeny bit, right? So when her mom got home, found her in her closet, she played the video for her, and then her mama went off on her. And she says this was the first time she saw her grandmother kind of like stand up for her, and it was like, why won't you just acknowledge that that's your daughter, or whatever the case is? And her mama was like, because I ain't have no child. I don't have a child. Like, what are you talking about? So I just want to know, like, what was really going on during that time, because when it's always, especially when you heavily into church, they make it seem like it's such a bad thing when you have a child, before you're married and all of that. So maybe that's why her mom was trying to distance herself from being a 16-year-old mother, because she was trying to appear perfect as far as the family image and as far as church is concerned. But I don't know, girl. I just hate that she had to like endure that, and her grandmother pretty much had to take care of her. Like, y'all, when this girl was like 11 or 12, at that time when her mom listened to the audio message or whatever, her mama told her, "Listen, I'm gonna destroy you." And it seems like she was hell bent on making that her entire life, which was to destroy her child, a child that she didn't even see was her child. And Kenya also talked about how she felt like, well, she says that, I hope at some point my mom's story is like fully told, because I feel like there's still layers of her mom that she doesn't know. And I'm not sure if her grandmother is still living or not, but I feel like grandma may know a lot of stuff. And I hate that if she has passed on, Kenya hasn't gotten a lot of details that she may have needed. And it could be because, girl, I don't know if Kenya, I don't know. I think she was like, if she's from Detroit or wherever. But a lot of people from Detroit, because I have family up there too now. A lot of people from Detroit moved from the South, okay? Because I believe there was like a train that came from like Alabama or somewhere, and it led all the way up to Detroit. So a lot of people from the South migrated up north. So when I'm thinking about this, and I'm sure this is like whether you live in the North, the South, East, West, whatever, I'm just thinking about, because I grew up in the South, even though I was born up north. It kind of makes me think about how families like to keep secrets about things that were happening. One, maybe to preserve the image of the family, but also, in my opinion, to lack accountability, okay, and responsibility on whoever's end, and not wanting to face the reality or the truth of what was happening, okay, with said family members, or what said family members may have done to another. And it just makes me question that, like, what could have happened to her mom at such a young age that, her immediate response ends up being like, I don't have a child, I don't know what you're talking about. As far as you, kid, I'm going to destroy you, yada, yada, yada. And then for Kenya to be the grown age that she is now and still not have certain details of her mom. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. I just hate that woman had to endure it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love so much to see her relationship with her daughter, Brooklyn. Because Kenya will give her life for that little girl. Like, I love their relationship. Like, they are like this. And Kenya makes sure that she and that little girl is giving extremely tight. I love that so much. What else did she talk about? She talked about how when her mama told her that she was going to destroy her, Kenya used that as motivation to prove to her that you can't destroy me. Girl, you can't cancel me, okay? Because you think that you can, it's the very reasons why I'm going to continue to win out here in these streets. Period. She said her mama tried to get her crown taken from her. At one point, Kenya was like, I think in high school, I don't know if it was junior high or high school, but she was dating an older grown ass man that she refers to as a predator. And I would refer to him as that too. Okay, it may have been a quote unquote common thing to a lot of people. A lot of people dated older people when they were younger. A lot of people dated older people when they were younger. Well, girl, high key was predators. Okay, I know for me as a kid, I never liked that. I never liked that. Like, I started to grow like my little hips. I was still tiny. Make no mistakes about it. Your girl was tiny as hell, but you could kind of, how you see some kids and you can tell what their shape is going to be like when they get older. That's kind of how I was. And I never forget, my mom used to do hair at this hair salon. And it used to be like a little Mexican store down the way. And I used to go to that Mexican store and get like little stuff or whatever. And it was like a group of guys. I know they were older. They were way older than me. And they were older than me. I don't know. I can't think of the ages, but I remember I walked past and I used to always use my hands to cover my butt. So I would walk with my hands behind my back, covering my butt. And I'll never forget, one man said, you can't cover all that up. That pissed me off so bad. And I'm like, oh, you are so disgusting. Now, for me, always thought it was disgusting for older men to even try to flirt or say any slick things to younger kids. Okay, it ain't no younger women, it's younger girls. Okay, kids. I always thought that was just so cringeworthy to me. Like, I hated it. So when I would hear of people in high school or whoever dating these older guys and this and that, I just didn't understand the hype. I really didn't. I always thought that it was just ugh. That's why now that I'm older, when I see these old ass men reaching back, dating these young ass girls, I kind of go in the mindset of these girls being teenagers when your ass was in your 30s or something. And it just kind of like disgusts me all over again a bit. But people grown now, girl, they gonna do what they want to do. But girl, yes, the man was definitely giving predator or whatever, like Miss Kenya said. So what her mama did was she took that information, used it against her. When Kenya won her first crown, her mom sat up there and was like, she called whoever the head people are of the of that pageant and said she needed to have her crown taken away from her because she was dating an older man and she's also a drunk. Girl, what? I don't know. I think Kenya was like a teenager at that time. And Kenya was like, girl, I don't even drink. And she barely drinks to this day. But for her mama to try to do that to destroy her, that's a mental issue. I would say that you jealous of your child, but you don't even want to acknowledge your child. So were y'all raised up like y'all were sisters or something like that? Like, I don't know. It's giving awkward. It's giving mental. Kenya even said that's one of the reasons why she majored in psychology, because she wanted to understand the mental of her mom. Which also lets me know the fact that you want to major in it and you want to understand the mental is because your family did not share enough with you about your mama. And I don't like that at all, because I feel like that hurts her more than helping y'all, because y'all get to keep whatever secrets y'all want to keep when it comes to the family. So if that girl may have suffered something at a very young age when she was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, I think that's very important for Kenya to know, to understand her mother. I think Kenya's mom has only done one nice gesture for her that I can recall, and that was when she had baby Brooklyn. When she had baby Brooklyn, her mama sent her a gift. for the baby, not for her ass. Okay, send her something for the baby. All right. But I hate that. I hate that. But anywho, let's keep going. So they talk about Real Housewives. Okay. And Kenya pretty much talks about how she felt like because she's went through a lot with her mama, sometimes people may trigger her to get in their ass, okay? And when she like goes in on them, a lot of people don't understand, like, or at least a lot of people want to overlook what people have done to her. And I feel like the same thing happens with Candace Dillard, right? Like a lot of people do shit, and then when these people respond in when they respond, you can't piss somebody off and then tell them how mad to get. And they respond, and sometimes it might be in a harsher way. Instead of them acknowledging what the person did to them, they come at the person that's responding. And Kenya's like, that's not fair. Because this bitch just said this, or she tried to kill me, or she did this, or da da da. And you mean to tell me that I ain't got no right to say nothing to her? I can't go low? You know what I'm saying? Like, excuse me. And that's when Carlos asked her if she believes that there is, does she think it happens because of colorism? And Kenya says that she didn't necessarily say yeah, but she said yeah. She was like, I've seen different things throughout Housewives enough to know that colorism exists. Basically, is what she said. And in so many words, it's giving, yeah. And I'm like, I see why she couldn't necessarily say yes right out the gate, because a lot of the women on her show are the same complexion as her, right? But as she watches these other shows, it's clear because she said something like, it's how they respond to a woman that looks like me. You know what I'm saying? A woman that looks like me, if a lighter tone woman did some of the shit I did, or Kim Zolciak did what I did, y'all wouldn't say nothing. But because it's me and how I look, y'all would say something. Okay, so there's that. What else? So Kenya says when she first joined Real Housewives of Atlanta, she said she filmed for a whole month and did not get no money. That's new to me. Because I always thought in order for them to use your likeness at any capacity on television, they had to pay you. Well, I was wrong as hell. Because that lady filmed for a whole damn month and didn't get not a damn piece of a check. Girl, what? But she was willing to try it out because she said that she was living in Cali. She was producing her own movie. She was doing her thing out there, but she just wanted to change. At some point in her life, it just switched for her. And she was like, you know what? I want something different. This ain't giving what I thought it was going to give. And I want something different. She already had a house. Okay. She wasn't renting. She bought a house out there. And I don't know what happened to the house. I don't know if she rented it out or sold it, but she ended up relocating to Atlanta because she had a lot of family here. I believe two of her best friends were here. So as she was transitioning from Cali to Atlanta was when she learned about the opportunity to do Real Housewives. And she was like, all right, cool. So she kind of auditioned for it. And she said that she did like that process better. Right? Because you had to show what you can offer to the show first, improve yourself before you're just, here you go, here's a contract. And she says now a lot of the ladies are just like, they sliding by, they easing on by, they getting their damn contract before they even meet who the real stars of the Housewives shows are. And I don't think I like that process either. She says, and it always backfires for them because they be giving these girls these contracts and all this money to be a part of the upcoming season. And then once they're on the show and the ladies meet the women, they really can't hang. And instead of them having that housewives position, they're only good enough to just be a friend of the show, i.e. Miss Courtney. Okay, Courtney's on, because I guess Courtney was out here auditioning or whatever to be like one of the housewives, but Courtney was only worth being a friend of the show. So, and I see why. Okay, I see why, and I see that she be trying to make fetch happen real bad, girl. But I'm hoping that contract is snatched. Okay, but let's go ahead and keep going. All right. Now, Kenya says, yeah, she says a lot of the women that's coming onto the show are fans. I said BITCH. That is real, because I feel like Courtney is indeed just that, a fan. A fan of the show, because when she went and did this recent interview with Behind the Velvet Rope, a lot of the things that she said was coming, in my opinion, from the perspective of being a fan and watching the show over the past few seasons. That's what it was given to me. Okay, because I feel like Kenya will go toe to toe with you, but I've never heard her like being disrespectful to production or any of that. I mean, Nene hasn't even said no shit like that. Like some of the stuff Courtney said in her interview, Nene hasn't even said. You know, a person that don't really care for Kenya, you know, this day or next day or whatever. So I'm just like, I don't know, girl. Courtney, you reaching, but anyway. So Kenya speaks on the ladies going on strike because at one point the cast members went on strike against Kim Zolciak, and I love this. All right, I love that they went on strike because how is it Kim gets to walk her ass off set, her and her raggedy wigs gets to walk her ass off set and still get her check, as Nene said the last time she did her interview, okay? But everybody else is required to stay and perform. Are you crazy? And this lady over here getting special treatment. I think the dog, now we over here putting in the work. It's like doing a group project. And that's why I hate group projects like in college or whenever. Because you always have at least one person, one shoe, okay? You have at least one person that's not going to do their part and expect everything else to fall on other people and then be trying to show up at the last minute like they doing some shit. I.e. Kim showing up at the last minute to me would be the reunion and then act like she doing some shit. No, ma'am. You don't get to just walk out and leave. This is a group effort. This is a group project. And if you're not going to show up and perform, you should not get your full check. And that's just how I feel about that. Okay, so I'm glad the ladies put their foot down and walk the fuck out because if the cast leave, what you got? Y'all gonna be scrambling. And this is where she ended up letting us know this is how Miss Porsha Williams came into play because she says Porsha was a replacement housewife. She was never casted. Kenya was casted before Porsha. But because Kim walked off set, they didn't know what the fuck to do. So they was over here like, okay, well then we need to call, old girl. Because if Kim's not gonna stay, we still have an obligation to make this a show. We need to bring somebody else in. Let's call Miss Porsha Williams, okay? So they called Porsha, and that's how she came in. Because Kim walked off, Porsha walked in, okay? And Marlo, that's the same thing for you, girl, because Porsha walked off, you walked in. Understand? Okay, but let's go ahead and keep going. So the ladies were upset that Kim would get special treatment, and we talked about that. All right. Now I feel like this confirms a lot of what Nene was saying when she was talking about people getting special treatment. And Kenya goes on to do her interview, and I'm sure we'll get into it, where there were certain things that she wanted, and she never got those things either. Like a spinoff and stuff like that. So Kenya definitely said things that validated a lot of what Nene said in her previous interviews. But I have to be honest, and I have to say this. In my personal opinion, and I've always said this, and I'm going to say it again. I hear Nene, I understand Nene, and I appreciate the ladies validating what Nene said. My thing with Nene is this, okay? All of those things were happening, and you were content, and you were okay with it until you did not get your way. And that just makes me think about some of these bitches, NIGGAs, who... And the first guy coming to my head is Rockstar of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood or whatever. But it's like you collect all of this info on said company or people. And then as soon as you don't get your way, because you was content with how it was going the entire time, you was good. But as soon as you don't get your way, then you want to sit up there and start throwing out all of the shit that you collected for Mad Day, this and that, throwing all of this shit out. And then expect a person or a company to give you the opportunity to come back after you done sat up there and sprayed the fuck out of them. Nah, you was good then. And just because you didn't get your way, now you want to go and have Mad Day and add more sauce on it. That's the problem. And I wish that Nene would have played her cards a little better. I know the girls was upset at one point with Candy Birds because they felt like Candy was getting a lot of the things that she wanted or something like that. And I'm just like, well, then y'all should have been kind of watching how Candy moved and mimicking it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like she got more on the low end by keeping it low and going straight to the sources and like, I'm not going to out y'all, but I'm going to keep it real with y'all, XYZ, versus going to the masses. And now they really ain't finna do shit for you. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Candy was out there making the moves. We don't know what kind of agent Candy had, what kind of contracts Candy had. Y'all should have been over there trying to talk to Candy. Like, bitch, how is you doing it and what is you doing? Because it seems like she's a person that don't mind sharing. She's very open for the most part. So I don't see her not wanting to help y'all. I think Candy has created platforms that has allowed damn near all y'all housewives to benefit. From xscape shows or acting or making music or doing other productions. So I feel like she would have gave y'all she would have told y'all what to do. Okay. So I feel like Nene would still be here larger than ever. Um, if she wasn't so busy, arguing with Miss Candy, talking, talking all that stuff when Candy had to let her know, girl, I'm embedded in your motherfucking brain. And she should have been embedded in your brain in a different way. She should have been embedded in your phone. Okay, and so you're embedded in your phone, so you can have on phone calls, some text messages. Y'all go out to eat, have a little drink here or there. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't like they couldn't come together. Y'all came together to keep Porsha on the show. Y'all came together for other stuff. So y'all still could have came together. So I never understood what the issue was with Nene and Candy, but she always made it seem like Candy was the problem. Like Candy, I don't know what this issue is, this vendetta or whatever Candy has against me. That lady ain't bothered by you. That lady, even when you crossed her, she said she was gonna blow up on your ass. What happened? She still gave you a platform to be on her show with your comedy thing that you were doing. You know what I'm saying? I think I think Candy and xscape had got back together. They was traveling, doing whatever tours, and they let Nene on. Then Nene ended up getting put off the tour because of some things that she said. So, I mean, girl, I don't know, girl. I don't know what it's about. Anyway, girl, I hate that for her. I do wish she would have moved a little differently than what she did. But let's go ahead and keep going. So Kenya said she felt embarrassed by Porsha when Porsha, she was told to go to I think it was a charity event or something, and Porsha got her title wrong and said she was Miss America versus Miss USA, and Kenya was like, oh no, girl, like it's not. I understand how you could get them mixed up, but it's not Miss America, it's Miss USA. And she said she didn't have no issue with her really mixing it up because people do that. It was more so how Porsha responded to it, like, girl, okay, anyway, girl, it's the same thing, tomato, bitch. Let's keep going, right? So Kenya didn't like that shit. All right. And so I believe she was getting ready to leave or whatever. Her and Porsha may have had slight words. It seems like Kenya was saying Porsha may have went and got some tips from production, came back, and that's when she sat up there and started getting real snappy with Kenya and told her, girl, you can go to the curb where you belong. And then Kenya said, now, wait a minute, bitch. Now, when you got it wrong, I said, okay, cool. You done fucked it up. It's all good. I'm finna go ahead and head out. Whatever, girl. Now you coming back and you insulting me? Okay, now, bitch, we got a problem. And that's where all of the drama first kicked off with Kenya and Porsha. Okay? But if Kenya and Porsha would have just gotten along, I think them being, I don't know. Y'all let me know. I feel like Kenya and Porsha getting along would have made for much better TV versus them not. Or maybe now it would make for much better TV than for them not to get along. Because if Porsha were to return for the next season or something, I kind of would rather see her and Kenya be cool versus seeing them go at each other. I don't know if I want to say, I'm like, we spent so many years watching y'all going at it. I don't know if I want to see another few more years of y'all arguing or going at it. Like, is there a way for y'all to just be cool? Just be okay, and then maybe y'all go at it with Sheree and Marlo or something. Like, we'll have to see. But anywho, so that's that. That sparked the beef. What else Kenya said? Girl, Kenya said production was trying to use her in so many words. And I think they wanted her to film some more scenes. And Kenya was like, no, I'm not filming the damn thing. I done filmed enough. Y'all need to let me know. Either you want me or you don't want me. And I love that. I love that so much that she was willing to stand her ground and also be heard. Because I feel like a lot of people who just want to be on TV or just want to get on or whatever the case is, they'll continue to just let people use them up, and then be looking back and they ain't got compensated for it or receive nothing from it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that she kind of spoke up, especially like in kind of like technically Hollywood, even with reality TV. So she had to draw the line, and she was like, listen, y'all not gonna use me to fuck up. Y'all already not paying me, and I'm spending very extensive days working over here with y'all when I could be working on my own shit. So y'all need to figure it out. What you gonna do? And they's like, okay, we just need you to film one more scene. She said, okay, I'm gonna do it. But if y'all don't make me a housewife, y'all can't use none of my shit. I said, I know that's right. Girl, put your balls on the table in the beginning and keep it honest and keep it real. Because she's been in Hollywood long enough to know how they can go about playing your ass. Okay? So she knew where to draw that damn line. She did that one more scene. And then after that scene, what happened? They made her as a housewife. And guess what? She's still a fucking housewife. So I'm like, listen, bitch. Listen. You better know how to handle your shit. Girl. I'm here for it. All right. Now let's go ahead and keep going. She spoke on Phaedra. She talked about the reason why she still don't fuck with that lady to this day. Hear what I'm saying? I feel like Kenya would be like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" and just keep it moving. But she don't fuck with Porsha. I'm sorry, not Porsha, but Phaedra, and quite a few people don't. Okay, she says that she confided in Phaedra about some things that took place with her mom, and Phaedra turned around and used that against her at a later time, and that is fucked up. And that's also when I heard that, I said that's the reason why she does not feature Marlo, and she will never fuck with Marlo. I think she's tried to let bygones be bygones, and I feel like if Phaedra was still on the show, Kenya would still she would try to let bygones be bygones with her, and I feel like she may have tried it too on the show. But if y'all ever wonder why Kenya just won't let it go with Marlo or whatever the case is, that's why. When she confided in Marlo about something, and then Marlo turned around and told that lady when they was at the bonfire, she said something to her about how her mama didn't even want her. She said something to Kenya that I felt like was disrespectful, and it's like, but you went through the same thing. So why are you taking what she shared with you and then you throw it up in her damn face? Like, yeah. And y'all know how Marlo is too. Marlo be back and forth. One minute she cool, then she throwing shade. Da, 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 da. Like she don't know how to be loyal to nobody but Sheree Child. And I'll never understand it. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so that's why she don't talk to Phaedra, and she ain't too keen on Mr. Marlo ass either. All right. Kenya does admit though that she misses Nene being on the show, and I knew she was gonna say that. And I'm glad that question was asked because I was looking like, do you miss her? When she was talking about Nene and everything that Nene has brought to the show, that question came up about, do you miss Nene being on the show? And I'm sure all the girls are. I think Candy even did an interview where I think it's twofold. I think Candy does kind of miss Nene on the show because she did add something to the show. But at the same time, I think when Candy says she wants to see Nene on the show, it's because Nene had been throwing shade to her. So it was like, okay, and then bring your ass back to the show then. That's not going to happen. I would be extremely, extremely surprised. The world must be getting ready to end if Andy Nim reach out to Nene to have her on the show, even if it's for 3 to 4 episodes. Even if it's one episode, bitch, I would be surprised, girl. I would be shooketh. Okay, so yeah, but anywho, so what else happened? She did, yeah. She said she missed Nene because she also missed the television that they made together. So she misses those moments. All right. She agrees that Nene did build this house, honey. Okay, that's one thing Miss Kenya confirmed, and she agreed with Nene, and she said Nene did build this house. But she said the house then got foreclosed on, bitch. Okay, and then got foreclosed on. So then Carlos is like, well then who owns who took over the deed? And basically, the way Kenya was over there, touching on her hair, she was trying to pretty much say, I took over the deed. Okay, it's my house now, bitch. Okay, because I'm still here. All right. That's what it was given to me. Now, Kenya speaks on not being a first seat at the reunion. They go into more detail about this, and she said she spoke with production, and actually she even called the production company on behalf of like Giselle when Giselle wasn't in the middle of the photo or something like that, or whatever it was. She didn't like that Giselle wasn't, because they feel like Giselle is the face of Potomac. She's that girl of Potomac. I could see that. I could see that. Even if I want to deny that, I think Giselle is the face of Potomac, but I don't think it's just Giselle anymore. I think it's Karen and Giselle. I think it is shared. I don't think it's one or the other. Yeah, I think when people think of Potomac, I think they do think of Giselle first. Based on a lot of people not liking her, I also think they think of Karen because Karen is like a fan favorite. So I think it's twofold. I think it's both of them. But anywho, they talk about first seat. In the past few reunions, Kenya has not been first seat, and she has not been able to really understand why. She says first seat should not have anything to do with story for the season. Like, yeah, of course, I didn't have a lot of story this season, but it's been plenty of times Nene has come on this show and has not had no fucking story, and she is not lying. There has been plenty of times Nene has not brought a whole lot to the show, and she still got their first seat because of who is she? She's Nene Leakes, okay? Same thing with Kenya Moore. So I feel like Kenya should have that first seat. Candy could really care less because she feels like whoever sent closer to Andy gonna be in the hot seat any damn way. But Candy is just like, girl, just give me a seat, scoot over. It ain't finna change my check. My check's still finna be large. So I really can sit wherever. It's not gonna matter to me, honey. But Kenya's like, no, it's not about just story. She said it's about the stars of the show. That I will go with. I think that's how it should. I don't think it even should be story. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I feel differently, but with a different franchise. But with this franchise, um, yeah, I think that it should be the stars of the show. It should be the stars of the show should have the immediate seats, and then everybody else should follow. Because I feel like I was watching Beverly Hills last season, and I think Kyle was sitting close to Andy, and we know Kyle ain't been talking about shit for a minute. Now, Kyle, we know you're gonna be close. We know you're gonna be sitting next to Andy this round, but I feel like you ain't bring nothing last season for real. So why the hell was you there? Right? So it made me kind of question, did they shake up the seating for Real Housewives because so many of the fans were guessing so hard at who was going to sit where? So y'all decided to do a shake up. Let me tell y'all something. The shake ups y'all over there doing at Bravo is not really helping y'all. Okay. The shake ups of the storylines, the shake up of the cast that y'all doing, the shake ups of the reunion, the shake ups of the damn themes of the reunion has not been giving. Last year's theme was everything. But this one y'all got coming up, I don't know what the fuck y'all was thinking. I don't know who y'all got back there helping. Maybe it's newer people or something. I don't know, but y'all gonna have to get it together, girl. Y'all gonna have to fix this. Y'all saying that it's the same production team from Real Housewives of Potomac. Can't be. Can't be. Everybody was not able to come down to Georgia to help out. Can't be, because it's really not given. Either that, or is it the cast not wanting to share, or dive deeper into certain parts of their storylines? And if that's the case, that's a problem, because you're on a show to share majority of your damn life. So I don't think you should really be able to pick and choose everything. I think there's some things I get, like if you don't want to talk about it, I think they should have some of that, but then not everything. Now you only good for one. Now which one you not gonna tell? You gonna talk about this or you gonna talk about that? Which one is it? Now we gonna need to get a little sum up out you. What's going on? Okay, so I don't know. It could be a combination of cast and production, but y'all gonna have to get this shit fixed. And I agree with Kenya. I think that it should not really be about story, because we're gonna get into your story period regardless of where you're sitting, but just go ahead and sit the stars where they're supposed to be at the front. And I feel like the girls, as Kenya said, when it came down to like auditioning for the show, you had to work for that. So I feel like you should have to work for that seat next to Andy. As well. And we see Giselle get up there time after time and don't be having shit going on in her stories for real, but she's sitting next to Andy. You know why? She's a star. Hello? Karen, she's a star. So why y'all shook it up for Atlanta? The more I think about it, it pisses me off a little bit, because it makes me question, are y'all trying to sabotage the show? What's really going on? But anywho, so Kenya says her time on the show, she feels, hasn't been valued as much as it could have been. Okay, or it's not valued as much as it could be. So it seems like, I don't know if she's a little disappointed in Bravo or something, or she's feeling away about some things, but you could tell she was a bit misty-eyed as she was talking about some stuff, and she didn't want to full on, cry and stuff like she did with her mom. But Kenya says her time on this show hasn't been as valued. She says that she was denied a spinoff, and you could tell she was getting emotional about that spinoff because she wanted to do something with she and her daughter. Right. And that's where we go into the conversation of Mark and how she says that she was punished for marrying Mark off camera. And chances are that's the reason why her spinoff didn't go. And I don't like that type of thing that production companies do. And I'm going to say this. That's like some type of work retaliation. When you do that, like, just because y'all didn't get y'all way with something, y'all want to retaliate. And I don't think that's cool. I feel like I don't even think you could do that in the corporate world. I think they do it, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get away with it. But if you can prove it with the EEOC, then girl, it's a wrap, so you technically are not supposed to do that. And I don't like that the production companies are able to do that. I understand it's going to be their money. They're going to finance it or whatever the case is. But it's like, just because she didn't show that don't mean that she ain't got nothing else to show. Like, why y'all sitting over here trying to punish this lady because y'all didn't get that first shot of her being married to this man? I understand you're upset, but girl, Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But anywho, she speaks on Mark and their divorce and how she says she would have been divorced that man, but the divorce is dragging on because he's trying to take her rights away when it comes to her daughter and filming. She says that he's wanted her to pay his bills, and she's also wanted him to pay some other bills that nobody even understands what the hell they are. Okay, so basically he's definitely trying to get money out of her, but Kenya says she's at a point where she'll pay that. It's not a thing for her. She'll make it back just to get him out of her fucking hair. But the problem is he is trying to stop her from having rights over what and when Brooklyn can film, because he's trying to use Brooklyn for the reality show that he has. And that is a very, very vindictive man. I can't take it. And Kenya goes on to say that this man ain't even seen his child in 2 years and 2 days. I say, no, say what? You haven't seen your child in I don't know how long, but you want to sit your ass up here and dictate what she can and can't film and all. Because it was a point where he, I think he submitted paperwork or whatever that restricted her from being able to film, his daughter from being able to film on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Then they just settled that to where the judge decided that Kenya the girl gonna be with Kenya primarily most of the time. So it's like she gets to make that decision on what and where. So now he's trying to get that overturned or whatever, so the girl can feature on his show. So that's the only time you're willing to get your daughter, is when you're able to possibly make profit from it. Whoo, girl, Kenya. I don't know what you done went out here and found. I don't know what kind of man you done went out here and found, girl. That is some wild SHI to me, okay? She also says, was there anything else she said? I think that was it. He just wanted to take her rights away because he's filming some stuff and it seems like it could be a reality series. Although he doesn't want to give her a whole lot of detail about it, he's working on his own stuff. So that would be interesting. You got all these other kids, go film with them. Why you want to sit up there and film with Brooklyn? What kind of connection y'all even gonna have if you don't even see her any other time? How is that going to work on camera, sir? Like, I'm a little confused, because I'll never forget Kenya brought that baby up north or wherever they were to New York or something. He wouldn't even come pick up Brooklyn. Girl, what? Like, just good. Tragic, sad. Didn't even want to be on TV when she was married to him, right? He really didn't want to do the television thing. The producers had to kind of talk him into filming some of those scenes, and then now all of a sudden you want to be a reality star. Like, baby, go ahead. I can't take it. I can't. So then we get on Kenya and her dating history, right? The conversation started about Walter and how she was being accused of paying Walter. She was like, I never had to pay that man. But I hate that that's continued to be the narrative for so many years, that I was sitting over here paying that man. And yeah, it became the narrative when you have other housewives that are pretty much co-signing that narrative, that's what the hell been going on. All right. So much so, Walter went onto a radio station to say that Kenya did ask him to come on the show. Now, Kenya said people should have read in between the lines, because he never said that she paid him to go on the show. I just asked him if he was willing to come on the show. That's all that happened, right? But of course, people were going to take what they wanted to take, because of course, around that time, I don't even think Kenya was a well-liked housewife. She was like one of the villains that people couldn't stand, like Giselle or whatever. So it was what it was. But she said she asked him. That's not an uncommon thing. A lot of people ask their spouses if they want to come on the show. And then some women work out, deals to where they may pay their spouse a certain percentage out of their check or whatever the case is. Okay. So, but what we learned is that she said Nene called her and told her that Phaedra is the attorney to Walter. He has secured her services, and Phaedra told him to pretty much play up the fact that he was being paid by Kenya. Girl, Miss Faye, girl, you was a mess, girl. You was a damn mess, girl. And I ain't gonna lie, I used to really enjoy you on the show. Not even gonna lie, not gonna cap. Don't care how nobody else feel about you, because that's just how I feel and felt about you. Okay, I definitely enjoyed seeing you on the show, but bitch, girl, you was a mess. You hear me? A mess, girl. Get it together. And we about to see you on Married to Medicine, girl. I don't know. Don't you bring no lies over there, girl. Don't you bring no lies over there to the Married to Medicine, okay? But anywho, that was pretty much it. They got into Walter. She said she never had to pay him or anything like that. They were actually dating. I did hear Candy say that Kenya dated. She knew one of Walter's close friends, and that she did date that man. Kenya said this in the interview. But I do remember Candy saying that as well, that they were in a real relationship, because Walter's best friend told Candy that they were in a real relationship. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Meanwhile, he over here trying to get him a little piece of clout off the lady, and sitting over here lying, trying to make it seem like she was over here really paying him or whatever. Girl, I can't. But anyway, that's that. They're also supposed to go into detail about Apollo, and I guess her trying to have sexual relations in some capacity with him. Okay, so they're gonna get into that and more on next week. So I'll definitely check that out and see what that conversation is about. But in the meantime, that's all I have. You guys go ahead and like up the video. Let me know your thoughts and comments about everything we talked about when it comes to Miss Kenya Moore and this interview she did with Carlos King. I'm Jamie. That's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.